2018. Rich Ventura in the NEC booth. Thanks for having us, sir.
Oh, always love having you here.
You and I have talked an awful lot in the last 6-8 months about your ALP platform. Now we're standing in front of ALP Pro.
Yes.
So what is the difference between ALP and ALP Pro?
ALP Pro takes all the functionality we had in ALP. Some people call it ALP, some people call it ALP.
Yeah.
It takes all the functionality of ALP and it puts it on steroids.
Okay.
So what we do is we add in a lot more reporting functionalities. So we're adding in things like variance reporting, we're adding in message efficiency, we're adding in the ability of actually doing higher level comparisons of content and the actual content and how it impacts the customer. And then when we go into a deeper level, we're utilizing AI. So AI will go in and do things like auto meta tagging. So once we upload a piece of content, we can meta tag that content
Automatically.
Automatically.
Okay.
And there's a reason we do that for a couple reasons. One is we now give the tool for the marketer to go into the system, and they can say, I want to see the highest rated content for millennial females when it's snowing. Or I want to see the highest rated content for black skirts on females. Or I want to see whatever you want, they can go in and see that because it's all been meta tagged automatically. So that's number one. The second piece is they can go and say, I want a piece of content created for me that is targeted towards millennial females, black skirts in New York. It will actually go through all of their assets and can stitch together the content and deliver it to them, and they can make a decision, yes, that's what I want, good, put it out there and deliver it.
See, that part right there is still one of the most fascinating parts to me, is the basically auto content creation.
Yeah, no.
Right.
It's auto stitching.
Okay, auto stitching. Well, when you do that though, is there not then a way, if the system comes back and says, what do you think about this content? What then do they do when they say, well, you know what, that's almost there, but I want this a little different, or that a little different? How do they do that?
So they go back into the search parameters and say, maybe they add a little bit of a tweak. What we'll give them is they'll actually get more than just one piece of content.
Okay.
They may get 2, 3, or 4 pieces of content, and then we'll tell them this hits 60% of what you asked. This might be 70% of what you asked. This might be 90%. Now, what they can do, they got 2 choices. They can just say, yes, I want this to play, and go deliver it. They say no, but it gave them the ideas. They can go back and create the content themselves.
Oh, very good.
So they're not locked in saying they can only use that piece of content.
Okay.
They actually can go in. What they can also do though is they may see that and go, oh, this is kind of what I wanted, but I maybe wanted this image a little differently. They can actually go into that content and drag and drop another piece of content in there because everything's zone based.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm creating a solid file that they can't modify. So they want to when they do that, they can pick that I want it to be 3 zones or 2 zones or 1 zone. If it's only 1 zone, then yeah, they've got a piece of content. It is what it is, right? But then they can add in Z layering, so they can add in layers of content on top of each other with multiple zones.
Oh, very cool. All right, so let's take it back one more step. ALP in general, when you're contracting with, or you're talking with, the customer, or you're talking with the integrator, how exactly are they kind of rolling this out? Where are they putting it physically? Where the server's going? All that.
So a couple key things about ALP that's really critical to understand is you have on-prem and you have cloud aspects of ALP.
Okay.
So on-prem is everything around immediate trigger, actionable triggers. So what we do is, unlike a lot of the other facial recognition, facial detection platforms that are out there, we're using PoE-based cameras that are actually sending the video stream through an appliance.
Okay.
That appliance is analyzing. The video never leaves the building, so there's no data security issues, anything like that. We're analyzing that video, and it's in and out of the system immediately. So what you have then is you can have a server you can have that appliance put anywhere in the retail store, because all you're doing now is Cat6 cabling. Right? So you're not having to put a media player behind the screen that has the analytics platform on it and a CMS. You're putting 2 players behind it. That gives us a lot of flexibilities from an integration perspective, especially if you think about, I'm doing a print ad and I want to measure that print ad. I need the camera there so I can measure traffic and engagement. I'm not going to put a computer there.
Yeah.
So now that's one piece of it. So you have the cameras, PoE-based cameras. Then you have the second piece, the appliance itself sits wherever you want to do. That is the extent of then any other sensors you want in environment, right? That's the extent of the hardware aspect that is part of NEC. Obviously, our screens is the other aspect of it, but from an ALP perspective, that's the extent of our hardware. The CMS players, we don't dictate the CMS players. It is all based on what the CMS company wants to use, based on our integration, because everything's API-based integration. So they will go and say, well, we've set up the APIs to support a BrightSense player, a Windows player, an Android player, SoC, whatever they want to support. The critical piece of this is, I want NEC's goal is we become the business intelligence operating system of the industry, and not just working on NEC screens, or not just working on this CMS, it's really supporting multiple CMSs.
Yeah, that's huge. And then from there, you're taking the information that you've gathered, right, from the cameras, from the other sensors, and then you send that up to your cloud.
Yes.
Okay.
So you've got two aspects that happen. So in walks a male 45 to 50. It's detected a male 45 to 50. What are we going to do? First thing that happens is we automatically communicate to the player from the appliance and say, hey, you have somebody that's 45 to 50 in this space, play this piece of content targeted towards them.
And that's already been predetermined by the customer.
Predetermined by the customer. So they will start playing, they'll have that ready to play. So as soon as their current content stops, or they're about to finish, this gets queued up to go in there. So it's basically interjected in, not overlaid over their content. So if I'm standing in front of that screen, I'm not going to know that you've targeted me. You should never interrupt content so someone knows they're being targeted. If you do that, you immediately are going to get disengagement and they're going to walk away. So we make it a very natural flow. So that's the first step that happens. Now the next thing that happens is our appliance is consolidating data. So we know how long someone's dwelling and standing in front of that screen when that content's playing. We know how many people are there. We know age, we know gender, we know impression information. We have all that data. That gets consolidated and sent up as packets into the cloud. So that the cloud level, when they log into their dashboard, they can then see how many male, how many female, what were the average impressions were, the dwell time, zone traffic, all of that stuff at the cloud level.
Wow. What is the biggest, what is your biggest or favorite thing from the jump from ALP to ALP Pro?
There's actually two things.
Okay.
One is message efficiency, and the other one is the AI aspect.
Define message efficiency for me.
So what we can do is we can actually tell you whether that message met your objectives.
All right.
So we can tell you, we always talk about the terms of ROO and ROI and ROE. This platform is designed to give that actually raw data, not raw, just tell you black and white. Was it efficient? Did it meet your objectives, right? So with efficiency, there's two things that we can do. One is I can go in and look at efficiency and tell you whether that message was efficient. Did it target the audience that we needed to target? What was the dwell time? What were the impressions? All that data, right? But now what I can also do is I want to know as a retailer, what is the, maybe I have, say I sell Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And I have two types of ads. I've got maybe an ad of Coca-Cola, just the can, and I got an ad of Coca-Cola that's got sweat going down the can, maybe a glass next to it. I want to know which one actually drove better engagement and achieved my objectives, right? So I can actually go into the system, I can compare those two pieces of content and look at it raw. What was the dwell time, all that kind of stuff. Now, let's take it to another level. What if I have print and I have digital? I want to do A/B testing between two different stores, and I want to look at the efficiency of the Coca-Cola ad that I did in print and the Coca-Cola I had in digital. We can do that.
Wow.
So you have a camera over the Coca-Cola ad, you can look at all the print, you can do all that information, you have it over the digital ad, and then I start looking at the engagement with POS, all that stuff. Now I can actually tell you how efficient was those. So now you can make a decision. Do I go to digital?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's one piece. The other piece is the AI aspect. So a customer can upload their content. I mentioned earlier about all that, telling them about auto meta tagging. So I upload that piece of content. I can then automatically will analyze that piece of content, and we will do auto meta tagging. So we can go male, female, millennial, blah blah blah. Now we've given them the power to go, what is the efficiency or the effectiveness of that ad? I can then go and search and say, I want to know the number one most effective ad for that store.
There you go.
Goes and tells you. Now you can start making real decisions on the effectiveness of your content and make sure that your content, you're delivering the most effective, most impactful content to your media players.
All right. Rich, if somebody wants to find out more about NEC or NEC ALP in general, how do they do that?
So necdisplay.com, obviously, for all of our information. necdisplay.com/ALP. There is a tab for ALP. There's videos, I think a couple interviews, maybe even you and me. There's videos out there. There's a lot of information. They can request information as well. Also, the other best way is going to these trade shows, going to these events. I can tell you there are quite a few clients that are going to be deploying ALP in the very near future, and you're going to be able to see it running in people's environments.
Very cool. We'll look forward to that. All right, Rich Ventura from NEC. My name is Tim Albright. More information about us and more videos from DSE 2019. Go by the website, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv.